In 2018, Korea will host the Winter Olympic Games in the mountain resort city of Pyeongchang.
But be careful, babe. Even kings need to watch their figure.
Which part of the pig you need?
Whatever the best part is.
The nose, the tail.
She was born in the outskirts of Seoul to an American GI and a young Korean woman. He was born in Alsace, France, land of pork and cabbage. She was put up for adoption at 3 and then lovingly raised in Virginia by her new family. He was 16 when he began his apprenticeship. She found her birth mother when she was 19. He came to America and became one of the world's greatest chefs. They fell in love and married over a decade ago. Now, Jean-Georges and Marja return to her birthplace to chronicle the tastes and traditions of Korea. These are the Kimchi Chronicles.
Korea is a largely mountainous country with a climate similar to New York City. The fall and spring are beautiful while the summers can get steamy and the winters pretty harsh. In fact, come wintertime, many parts of Korea become a snowy winter wonderland, worthy of a sled-driven visit from Santa Harabuji, good old jolly Saint Nick. In 2018, Korea will host the Winter Olympic Games in the mountain resort city of Pyeongchang. Just over 100 miles from Seoul, the Gangwon province is a hiker's paradise in the fall that turns into a winter wonderland perfect for the Winter Games. Hosting the Olympics in Korea is no small feat. The last Games held in Asia were in 1998 in Nagano, Japan. This marks a truly special occasion for Korea, a country that likes to celebrate special occasions. Just months before winter, Gangwon-do is a rich agricultural area, and in Korea that means more than anything, cabbage. In early November, the huge heads are ready for picking, and soon after, they're salted and then seasoned with ingredients like red pepper powder, tiny marinated shrimp, Asian pear, and radish. Then the fiery mixture is put into jangdeok, clay pots, and buried into the earth for next year's kimchi. Diana Kang, my steadfast Korean food guru, brought me to the home of Mi-sun Chung, who's been called the Alice Waters of Korea. Her quiet elegance comes through in her food. Like Alice, Mi-sun believes in cooking with locally sourced ingredients and applying French techniques to her Korean cooking. Her kimchi is legendary. Diana claims it's the best in all of Korea, year in and year out. So I was nothing less than thrilled that Mi-sun was giving me a hands-on lesson in kimchi making. I wanted to see the real McCoy. I've made batches and batches of kimchi over the years, but one day here, and my whole kimchi world was turned upside down. My unbelievable cooking lesson continued with several dishes served for the holiday of Seol-nal, New Year's Day. Mi-sun's japchae and jeon were pure zen. Jeon are battered, covered, thin slices of vegetable or meat that get pan-fried and eaten with a soy dipping sauce. And japchae is that Korean pasta dish of cellophane noodles studded with veg that everybody loves the first time they try it.
And what is typically served with the japchae? This looks like a great spread.
Yes. Today we have the special menu for New Year's Day, and especially this rice cake soup, tteokguk. Without it, you don't really get to be 1 year older. So a lot of times, when I was 29, I refused to eat tteokguk because I didn't want to be 30.
Right.
But tteokguk made with the new rice of that year symbolizes the festivities of the new year.
Like Diana, Mi-sun makes me proud. Korean women have become a force in the food world. And for me, my day with them was a truly special occasion.
Oh, I would bow a lot.
Korean royal cuisine is another kind of special occasion meal. We got dressed up to the nines, all 3 of us, Chloe, JG, and me, to sit down and eat like royalty. We were slated for a multi-course meal, and the table was truly fit for a king. JG and I tasted the food and learned that the spirit of royal cuisine was to pass the opulence on to the next class down, and they on to the next, and so on. And I thought to myself, I could get used to this royalty thing, and so could my little princess.
This is like, this is gorgeous.
The ingredients of this dish is mushrooms and vegetables and fish and chon. It's a Korean traditional pancake.
Oh, okay. It's delicious. I've never had it.
So many different shapes, some
Wow.
turnips.
So this is what would have been served when dignitaries came, or
Yes, and celebrations. First, it's appetizers.
look at the salad. It looks like spring. Here, I'll serve you.
Please.
Since you're the king for the day.
Yes.
Wow, lots of cucumber. I love Korean cucumber.
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
Pork belly.
Yeah,
Yes,
pork
we have
belly.
belly. To make this the first, we steam
Uh-huh.
and then we grill.
Wow.
Get the old oil out
good.
and grill it again.
Wow. What a long process.
Ooh, wow.
It smells really
That's
good.
amazing.
The name of mekjok.
The name is mekjok.
It's like melting.
That's next.
So how many dishes
Over 60 dishes come.
Wow.
in one day? No.
Yeah, one day.
In one day.
And then the day after, the lower servant eat the
Leftovers
yeah.
from...
So it's a kind of courtesy in Korea. The older people have to leave some food for younger
Oh,
people.
I see.
Yeah, but nowadays there's no class, so we have to eat
Everything.
everything.
Oh, I see. Oh, that looks so good.
So serving everything on a tray like that is very
Traditional?
traditional.
It's a traditional Korean dining. 굉장히 기대하고.
It's refreshing.
This is really flavorful, tender. You don't put too much spices to cover up the flavor of the beef. So.
This royal cuisine is fabulous, but I'm worried about him getting a king complex. He's getting too used to it.
Oh, eat at home.
We're a one-pot dish at home.
I expect all this in New York.
Well, you better fly emo back. Is it traditional to have dessert in court cuisine, or is it kind of westernized?
Sometimes the dessert is a more bigger volume than the main dishes.
Wow.
In the palace.
I guess the king and the queen are the sweet tooth. Me too.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Chloe would love these. Ooh,
Wow, so colorful.
aren't they gorgeous?
Black sesame?
Yes.
A heart for my
So
sweet.
nice.
But be careful, babe. Even kings need to watch their figure.
한국은 5분을
You'll love this.
사용해서
Isn't the texture cool?
Beautiful.
감사합니다.
Thank you
감사합니다.
so much. I want to be the king.
Where are my queenly jewels? So, celebrations, babe.
Yeah, let's
What are you
have a
celebrating today?
life.
Ah,
So let's have
that's a
little
good enough reason for me.
glass of Riesling,
From Alsace.
because I'm gonna use it later, so we can have a little sip.
Okay, might as well taste the product.
Why not?
Cheers.
Okay.
That's good.
So what are you cooking today?
Well, actually, the soup that I'm making is miokguk, and it's a seaweed soup
Seaweed soup.
that's typically eaten on your first birthday. We celebrated Chloe's first birthday 3 days after 9/11, and we decided to go ahead with her birthday because we needed to celebrate life and the fact that we were here and safe. Touch wood.
Well, she's been eating that soup since.
And
since
she's
then.
been eating it since.
2-3 times a week.
Also, it's recommended for women who have just given birth because it cleans the blood as well as helps produce milk for the mother.
So it's like a kelp.
Yes,
Kind of, huh?
it is. It actually starts out in a bag. You buy it like this, dry.
Dry.
And then you soak it in water for about 10 minutes and it expands to this. Babe, if you could put a little bit of sesame oil in the pan
And,
there.
you want it very hot?
Yes, I need it hot.
All right, here we go.
That's the key ingredient in this. I'm going to take the seaweed that's been soaked for about 10 minutes.
It
It's
expands
really
very
a lot.
Huh? It's like
So, I mean, this is, yeah, you don't need that much when it comes dry. So I'm just going to chop it up because the pieces are quite big. Could you put the beef in there? And season a little bit, season the beef.
salt.
Yep. Emo, my aunt, was the first one to show me how to make the soup. We're gonna incorporate that in there. Just give it a little stir, and I like to salt it at this point
As well?
As well, yeah. You can go ahead and season that up. Right, give it a little toss again. And then I'm gonna pour some beef broth. And then I'm gonna throw in, again, guess what?
Garlic, more garlic.
More garlic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's a lot of garlic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a Korean dish, babe.
I know.
It's gotta have a lot of garlic, which is good for you as well.
Now I'm gonna show you my celebration dish.
Okay.
So it's, you know the pot?
This looks familiar.
You know, back off, mazas.
Yes, yes,
So I
yes.
did a little twist to it.
It's one of my favorites.
A layer of potato, a little bit of salt, some carrots, some scallion
Scallion.
or leeks. This is very special for me because I grew up with this. You know, it's a very family tradition. During the holidays, when it's a cold winter night, usually it's made with pork, or lamb or beef. Usually it's huge at home when we
Yeah, I love it.
comes on the middle of the table, everybody serve themselves.
So good.
What I'm adding here is a little bit of you
Hey,
into my tradition, which is the kimchi. So I never
I'd
done
like
with
to be
kimchi,
represented.
So absolutely you are. Right here. We're gonna add the pieces of lamb in there.
Wow.
We can use like a shank or lamb leg. You can use shoulder.
I see some red pepper.
On a seasoning with salt and some red pepper flakes.
Ah,
So we
it's
fill it
gonna
up
have a
with
little
lamb.
kick to it too.
We're gonna add another layer of potato.
Okay, salt.
Yep.
I'm here.
Here we are. More potato. More carrots.
Oops.
Very simple dish.
More carrots. Should I put the rest of it in?
Yep.
Great.
It should be really overflowing because everything's gonna melt down to.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
a little bit of garlic.
And
Yeah,
the rest of
follow-
the onions, huh?
Yeah, I follow your trend.
Okay.
Lots of garlic.
Yay. Garlic's good for you.
Another layer of kimchi.
Whoa.
We're really gonna layer this up. And what it does is really stews together. You know, so like a lamb stew
Ooh, I
with
bet it's
potato,
gonna be so
kimchi. And we're gonna pour some white wine.
And how much are you gonna cover it or?
I'm gonna bring it, start pouring, and I'm gonna just see with my finger.
Okay.
Yes, to come up all the way to the rim.
Tell me when.
Here we
Oop,
go.
there we go.
That's good.
Good, there's some left for us.
So we're gonna cover it up.
Okay.
Well, this is the bake off.
That's it.
Korean
so
style.
easy. And it goes in the oven
You're gonna
for.
go in the oven for about 2.5 hours,
Okay.
400 degree oven. A little more, couple more drinks.
Yay.
We're just getting ready for dinner.
Okay.
Cheers, babe.
Cheers, babe.
Should we go look at your? At your
Yes,
soup?
I'm gonna go take a look at my soup. All right. Okay, we're ready, folks. We're in business. Let's have a little taste. I love that fast boil sound.
You eat this with rice on kimchi?
Yep,
Or?
rice and kimchi.
That's fantastic. Have your soup as an appetizer. I'm gonna take out my bake off. Next to you, yeah.
Okay.
I can smell the kimchi out of this.
I love it.
Smell this. It's like a new version of.
Oh, wow, that smells amazing. I love it. You're revolutionary.
There we go. Should we try your soup?
Delicious. Yes, let's do that. Try the broth. Broth is really special.
The garlic, the seaweed, the beef, the broth, everything goes so well together.
Right? Delicious.
There we are. There we are.
Tastes like emos.
Scoop out. Look at this lamb stew.
Oh my God, it's my favorite things ever. Potato.
It's nice and juicy. Usually the juice is like transparent. Now it's red from the kimchi.
I love it. I wonder if your mother would like that.
Probably not.
You never know.
You know, she's very traditional in her way. She has her way.
Oh my
see
God,
this
the smell. I
potato
can
and
just
kimchi.
tell how it's going to taste already. The smell. That is really good.
That's it. I'm changing the recipe.
Oh my
The
goodness.
family recipe.
It's amazing.
There you go.
I think I just fell in love with you again.
Like that.
All over again.
Ginger.
Coming back to Korea now as an adult, some 30 years after being put up for adoption, is always in and of itself a special occasion for me. Now when I come back to Korea, I'm coming home to family. There's no feeling quite like taking a hike with Sangjin, my cousin who is a mountain survival guide. He feeds me wild herbs and tales that come from his equally wild imagination. Or when I cook with my aunts. Emo's an angel. She came to New York to help me when Chloe was born and remains one of the most supportive and loving people in our life. And my Aunt Chunrae, Sangjin's mother. She's a strong, modern Korean woman who opened a restaurant when her husband suddenly passed away. She worked nights cooking late-night food and then got up the next morning with little sleep to be a mom. And most amazing of all, my sweet little grandmother, Ye Bum Kwak. She's seen it all, Korea's struggles and Korea's triumphs. We may look like two unrelated creatures and live halfway around the world from each other, but I hold her as a role model, and more than anything, my sweet little halmoni, my grandmother. My life has come full circle. It began with a single mom in an orphanage, and now I've come back to chronicle the tastes and traditions of Korea for you. Along the way, I've met people all across Korea who have filled me with inspiration. There's the banchan lady in Gwangjang Market, Sunok Kim. She implored us to sample, not to make a sale, but out of pride. She spoke so simply, yet so eloquently.
지역이 나잖아요. 근데 우리나라 음식은요, 먹으면 먹을수록 또 먹고 싶어.
And there's Dong Sam Lee, the Zen master of mackerel salting, who won us over first with his charming hat and later with his even more charming personality. And of course, Professor Ji-soon Kim, the Julia child of Jeju Island, who mesmerized my husband with her version of pork and cabbage, a taste combo that my husband grew up on in Alsace, France.
That looks delicious. Instead of a cabbage on pork, it's like a seaweed on pork. Oh my God.
Or Kang Young Lee, who served us a grilled seafood meal in Sokcho. He befriended us early in the morning as the boats were coming in with his live catch, and invited us back for a grilled seafood extravaganza.
A three-course meal.
And of his mother, Hae Young Cho, who had left behind her family in North Korea when she married a man from the South, and who lives each day so close yet so far away from a family she only remembers from long ago. And then there are the totally unique and amazing divers of Jeju, the Haenyeo, who go out each day in often frigid and dangerous waters, diving with nothing but lung power and tradition. JG will never forget the sweetness of the just-caught sea urchins and the sour, slimy digestive tract of the sea squirt.
Now chew it.
There's Grandmaster Shin Chul Kang and his high-kicking daughter Yujin Kang, who had me breathing hard. Heather hardly at all.
Kind of gets your blood racing, right? You're just like,
And left me feeling like I was in an episode of I Love Lucy. Heather, who has legit taekwondo chops, had never seen the martial art practiced at such a high level. And finally, the very special Yeon-hee Chung, who ran her family's Tenjang business back when women didn't do that kind of thing. She fed me psalms loaded with garlic and unabashed affection. Sadly, Yeon-hee Chung passed away in the summer of 2011 at the age of 81. It's Yeon-hee Chung and her generation that survived harsh history to deliver to younger Koreans a now prospering nation. She and that generation must never be forgotten.
The wind is coming this way, so we're gonna have a nice.
Okay, you can put it here. Put it on here. I'm gonna stop. There we go.
Every Labor Day or Memorial Day, sometimes both, Jean-Georges organizes a grand pig roast at our home in the country.
Eat the pig. Which part of the pig gonna eat?
Whatever the best part is.
The nose, the tail.
Always a celebratory meal, we have our entire family, which for me is truly a special occasion. My childhood was spent piecing together my family, my loving American parents, and a mom back in Korea who I could only try to remember. Threads of who I was and where I came from. Now my family is rich in relatives, and when we join our Korean, American, and French forces, along with a few BFF friends like Nathan, we are quite the international mixed-race sight to behold. My Korean mom, Young-Ye, is always there. Since reuniting with each other, we've gone from separated mother and daughter to best friends. For most of her adult life, my mom lived with the guilt of having given me up for adoption. We've discussed it at length, we've laughed, we've cried. And now I'm happy to say, she's good with it. We're both good with it. Chloe is, of course, the center of my mom's world. Even though our daughter is a perpetual motion machine who never wants to stop for food, she loves being surrounded by family as much as I do. Then there's Philippe, JG's younger brother and still partner in crime when it comes to eating and drinking well, and running Jean-Georges, the restaurant. Philippe is also the fire master, and after much discussion, JG always defers to his younger but much taller brother. Of course, it's his Taiwanese wife, Jenny, who, like all great wives, gives her husband his strength and wisdom. Chloe's best buddies are Philippe and Jenny's 3 kids, Etienne and the twins, Emma and Alyssa. For the pig roast, when not attending to the fire, the kids harnessed Philippe's rowing prowess to cruise the pond looking for turtles or frogs to turn into family pets. With Philippe occupied, Cedric, JG's son, and the very talented head chef at Perry Street took over. Cedric had his own thoughts on how to properly spit roast the suckling swine, and so did Jean-Georges' daughter Louise. Of course, when we get together, the food is also a mix of all our backgrounds. The pig is local, but stuffed with little potatoes and herbs in the French tradition.
Looks amazing, no?
And as a side, a buttery roasted sweet corn pudding spiked with Korean red chili pepper flakes. We drink wine from France and soju from Korea and beer from everywhere. Not the kids, of course. One final note. Speaking of children, when I look at Chloe, I think to myself how important it is to pass along my Korean culture to my daughter. To see her growing up eating kimchi and wearing a hanbok like a 10-year-old little Korean girl, I can see my Korean heritage being passed on to my daughter. And now that I've been back and chronicled my travels, I've come to realize that I never really left Korea behind. I never forgot those tastes, the smells, and that sense of Korea somehow being my home.
Koreans always share stuff.
I know. That's how we share our love.
It's been an honor showing you my country, Korea, the land of the morning calm. Thank you for sharing the Kimchi Chronicles with Chloe, Jean-Georges, and me. And as we say in Korean, 감사합니다, thank you, and 안녕히 계세요, goodbye.